Oh. Hello, friends.
Oh.
Hello.
Is it me?
Is that supposed to be a song?
I could see
I'm
it
gonna
in your
punch
eyes.
you.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Hi, welcome back to Gay by Gay.
Hello.
That was a terrible introduction, but we're gonna roll with it anyway.
Oh my god, I sang. Are we posting this?
Roll with the punches. No, we just decided to record it to not post it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I just felt like pressing the record button. It was so shiny and red.
It's not even red, bro.
It's Rudolph's nose right there on the
yeah,
screen.
I'm looking at
You're
the
like
left.
looking at my fucking trackpad, and I'm like, not that, the screen.
The button is
Like
in
the
fact red.
parasite
The
nose,
button is,
frickin'.
yeah, his parasite nose,
Ugh,
as we
so
discussed in one of our
broke my
Christmas
heart.
episodes.
Anyways, a positive year in review.
Leah
Where?
came out gay.
What positive? Where?
COVID positive? No,
Testing positive for COVID's not a good thing.
no, okay. No, there are things.
Positive COVID.
No.
No.
There are things that go on in our life that is better than.
You're fucking English.
Hey, listen. Be happy. Keep it
I'm
positive.
going to sneeze.
I know that you had like the worst face. Charlie was like looking up because she had to sneeze, but she was making a face. And I was
Making
just,
a face.
She was like, and I was like staring at her. I was like,
I love the way you did that because they can't see you.
Well, her eyes went in the back of her head and her mouth was open. Kind of looked
We
like
need,
she was
like-
having an orgasm
we-
or something, but you know.
I was gonna say the same thing about you, but then I was like, I'm not gonna say that, and then you said it anyway.
We need like descriptive content.
Descriptive content. Charlie was about to sneeze, so she started looking up. Her mouth was open, and her eyes were rolling into the back of her head like she was being possessed by Pazuzu.
Pazuzu? Who the fuck is Pazuzu?
So, who the fuck is Arnold?
We still haven't asked that
We
question.
still don't know who Arnold is.
Ugh.
Aaliyah, you've got to name one of your kids
I'm
Arnold.
not naming my
Please
kids
name one of your
Arnold.
kids.
But you're gonna name one of them like.
You're not gonna name your kids Arnold, so not all of your kids, but at least one of your kids.
No!
I'm not gonna name my kids Arnold. This is Arnold Jr. This is Arnold
What
Arnold.
if
This
you
is
make
Arnold Sr.
What if you put their middle name as Arnold?
Maybe.
Who the
Oh,
fuck is
yeah.
Arnold?
I'm gonna
No.
call him Arnold. You're gonna hate me.
I'm gonna have
No, his name legitimately needs to be like, what was one of your names? Ezra?
Ezra.
Ezra, who the fuck is Arnold Pacheco?
Oh,
Oh my god.
Who the fuck is Arnold Pacheco?
gross. Oh man.
What is Alex's last name?
Schofield.
Oh.
Cobblestone?
Yeah.
Is she Minecraft?
That's my mind. That's what it went to. I was like Cobblestone.
Schofield.
Cobble?
Oh. Cobble. Alex, your new last name is Cobble.
Cobble. Cobble like a turkey.
Cobble.
Cobble. No, this is the wrong holiday. New Year's, not Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
New queers.
I mean, this year we kind of are new queers.
New queers.
Yeah.
So talking about year in reflection on the positive side of things and not the COVID positive side of things, because that would be terrible.
You already did that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't test positive at
No.
any point, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
But talking more positively, you came out, and I became
Discovered.
I became a little less confused, but also a little more confused.
Enlightened.
Yes.
Enlightened in a way that
'Cause you
opened.
didn't know.
Enlightened in a way that gave me
I
more
think-
questions than answers.
I think we all used each other to realize.
It was all literally
Yeah.
within the span of one weekend.
Yep.
That all three of us.
We
It was
realized.
like the light bulb went off over
Yeah.
Aaliyah's head, the light bulb went off over your head, and then mine just kind of dimly started like flickering back and forth, and it was like,
Can
there
you
it
tell the
goes.
story of how you came out, and then I'll tell mine, then yours.
Like the
how
act-
you realized. I guess.
Okay, how I
The
realized.
actual story of
'Cause yours is
how
funny.
Aaliyah came out, Aaliyah stepped out of her
Hey.
hallway cupboard and then fell down the stairs. Why did you give me such a blank look?
I didn't know what you
I
meant.
thought you were gonna punch her.
She
I was
she just open mouth like stared at me for like a good
My
solid
mind
second
had
there.
to process the joke.
oh.
Anyways, okay, so how I
I'm
came
sorry
out.
that my humor like went right over your head.
So one day,
Hold on. I need to go off on a bit of a sidetrack note here. So in the last ASM argument that we filmed, the girls did a little bit where they started trying to do food ASMR for some reason. After we finished recording that
my God.
episode, Charlie and I were teasing Aaliyah for eating and chewing loudly. And she was like, I don't chew loudly. So we were having waffles today. I made the girls homemade waffles. And Aaliyah started chewing loudly at the table. And so Charlie and I started laughing. And We gave Aaliyah like 45 to 50 solid minutes, and we challenged her. We were like, you need to figure out why we're laughing at you. And literally she went off in completely the wrong direction, could not figure it out. And then we finally told her.
We gave her so much hints.
We gave her so many hints, she couldn't figure it out. And then finally we told her, and
I told her by doing this.
She gave the exact same response that she gave when we first started teasing her about it.
I don't do that.
Because the first day, we were like, oh my god, Aaliyah, if anyone's going to do food ASMR, it's you because you chew loudly. And she goes, I do not. And then literally today, upstairs, while we were talking about it and while we were teasing her, we were like, Aaliyah, we were laughing because you started chewing loudly. And she literally looks up at me and goes, I do not. And I was like, I swear to God, we've had this conversation before.
Now I get to tease
so
her
our humor absolutely goes over your head like constantly.
I do not chew loudly though.
Bruh.
I do not.
Charlie and I both heard it at the same time, looked at each other across the table and started laughing.
Like, how many times during the time we had to guess it?
Then again, there was also that moment where Tracy said something, your mouth popped open, a bit of waffle.
I found it like 20 minutes later.
Out of your mouth. You didn't notice.
Funny.
And Lee and I just started laughing. And I laughed so hard that I cried. And you couldn't figure out why we were laughing.
Because that's after I downed the whole waffle.
And then we finally told you, and 20 minutes later, you found the bit of waffle that had fallen out of your mouth.
I was like, oh, there it is.
Disgusting.
I didn't eat it, by the way.
Anyways.
Sorry, I like totally went off on a tangent there.
So,
I don't know if that's going to make it into the episode or if it's going to get cut out for an outtake, but we'll see.
Cut it out. It's fine.
You're coming out.
You're coming out when you fell down the stairs and banged yourself on every single step, and it was like, why did I think I was straight? Why did I date a man? Why did I do this? Why did I, like every single step was like a different realization of why the fuck did I do this to myself?
No. That's not what happened. So
was from my perspective, because that's what I watched.
Watched what? I didn't tell you until a week later.
I watched your entire relationship as the world was burning around you, and I desperately tried to tell you, Aaliyah, quick, jump out of the window, your house is burning down. And you were like, no, it's fine, this is normal. And I was like, Aaliyah, it's not normal. Quick, jump to no. And you went, no, I'm happy burning to death. No. And I was like, Aaliyah!
No, it's fine. Okay, so I ran a day camp over the summer, and literally, like, must have been the day before it started. I was really nervous about it, and I couldn't really sleep at night, and I was staying up, and I was scrolling through TikTok, and I was on lesbian TikTok for a while.
I don't know how she didn't clue in at this point.
And then, I thought I was bi.
Aaliyah, you dated MD because I quote, Abby, he's the prettiest girl in the world.
I thought I was bi. But anyways, so
you're an idiot.
I found out, we know this, I found out this one TikTok where it was like, oh, me rating songs about girls who like girls, and I was like, oh, cool. And then one of them was She by Dodie. Did I say it right this time?
Yep.
She by Dodie. And I listened to it.
It's her biggest coming out song, and she can't even pronounce it.
And then I listened to it again. And then I listened to it again, and I started crying, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm a lesbian.
Oh, fuck, I'm a lesbian.
And then I realized that, and I was going through all these emotions, and then, like, 3 days later, I was so euphoric, and then I realized, wait, I still have a boyfriend. Because he hadn't talked to me for like a week at this point. And because I didn't message him, he just thought I was busy with day camp. However, day camp only runs till 4 p.m. I don't know where he thought I was.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I don't think he cared.
So that's how I came out to myself, had that realization. So I think I met with one of my friends. I met with Cordelia. Mm-hmm. And she was like the first person I kind of told and hinted at, because I was like, I think I figured something out. I'm gay.
Yeah.
Well, she's the first girl I ever dated too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I don't know how you thought. We're not gonna.
I know. We can do a whole episode.
All
on
of
the
the answers were like smack in front of your face, and you're like, Abby, I didn't know, and I'm like, how the fuck did you not know?
We can do a whole episode on the signs. But yeah, talk to her.
The planets were aligned, the stars were aligned, there were meteors in the sky, and Aaliyah was just like,
nope.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So
I don't get it.
I talked to her, and she was like, yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. I can see that for you. And I was like, yeah. And then I remember I had said to her, I was like, oh, I think I want to try, like, dressing more masculine and stuff, because I think that would be really fun. I've never done that before. So we walked up to Walmart, and I got my first men's shirts.
Yep.
And then I got in the car, and I wasn't planning on doing this, or this to be the way I came out to my mom. However, I said, Mom, look at these guy shirts I got. And she goes, oh, are those for MD? And I go, no. And she goes, why do you have those? And I go, to pick up women. And then we got home and she cried. Not because she was mad at me.
She was worried about you,
She was worried about me. When she grew up, there was a lot of gay people getting beat up. And she was like, I just don't want you to get, like, shot or hurt or something.
Yeah.
Luckily, we don't live in the States. Luckily.
Yeah.
One of the few times that I'll say we're not, you know.
But, so that day, actually, when I got home from Walmart, I had called up MD and I said, you know what? I don't want to be in a relationship anymore because, you know, I think I'm a lesbian.
Oh.
What a
What
phrase.
did he say again?
I don't really want to be in a relationship anymore because I think I'm a lesbian.
Well, his first reaction, because we have been dating.
It's not April Fool's Day. That's his first reaction.
Well, no, his first reaction.
Are you kidding me?
Because we had been dating for almost 4 years at this point. He was
On and off dating after he fucking cheated on you.
Yes.
No.
By the way, if he's out there and he's listening, I will come for you.
He knows.
I will murder you.
But
You are dead.
he's dead on the inside already. I mean,
Good.
Oh, he'll be dead on the outside as well.
but he was like, you know what? Because I told him specifically, call me when you get home from work. This motherfucker calls me in the car when he's driving home, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore because he was kind of pestering me, and I was like, he wanted me to tell him,
And it's like, well, you're going to crash your car.
and I was like, you know, call me because
that probably would have been a good thing.
I wasn't gonna break up with him over text.
I wish you had broken up with him while he was driving, because then he would have swerved into oncoming traffic and all of our problems would have been solved.
I did, but I think he pulled over. No, he was probably still in the car while he was in the parking lot at work. But he called me after he was done work.
By that much.
And he was in the car. And at that point, he had been asking me for, like, the whole day, like, oh,
what's wrong?
What's wrong?
Yeah.
What are you going to tell me? Yeah. So I call him up and I tell him, and his first reaction...
Did he think you were proposing? Like, what the hell did he think it was?
His first reaction was, so this is it? And I was like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I like the V and not the P, so peace.
Poor kid didn't get it at first. But no, after that, I had immediately joined, because also on TikTok, I found this little Discord group, and she was like, oh, for, like, you know, gay teens, gay women. And I was like, oh, cool, I can meet...
I fit those categories.
I can
That's me.
I can meet other gay ladies and try to flesh out my experience.
You know that old Vine where it's like, I do that.
Yeah.
That was you finding that Discord. I'm like that.
Yeah. So I joined,
That's me.
and that was like the first time I ever identified myself as a lesbian.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where I met my wonderful girlfriend Alex.
She's not my girlfriend, guys.
I have to post this TikTok, but I made a TikTok of Aaliyah saying, guys, I think I'm just gonna mess around for a little bit. I don't want to get into
Aaliyah was literally talking about how she was planning on going to bars and picking up women, and literally the next thing we know, she's in like a long-term relationship, and Charlie and I were just looking at you like, bruh.
I mean, like even before that, we're like, so are you dating Alex? She's like, no.
She's not my girlfriend, guys, and Charlie and I are just side-eyeing each other because we're like,
You already know. And then she told me, she's like, we're dating. I'm like,
we knew before you did, and that holds true for literally everything that you went through, because you struggled to come out to Charlie and I don't know if you were afraid of us judging you or...
I don't know. I think it was such a big difference for me internally.
You looked so happy.
Yeah,
you were shaking and crying before you told us, and then once you did, you had like the most euphoric look.
Yeah, I was so euphoric.
You showed me a picture. You're like, look, Charlie, I look so happy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Charlie looked at you because we were in the car.
Yeah.
Charlie looked over at you from the back seat and said, "Oh, Leah, you look so happy. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you." And I just looked at you because I was in the front seat, and I just looked in the rearview mirror at you, and I went, "But what do you mean this is a revelation? Like, we already knew this.
Yeah.
Like, Aaliyah, why are you treating this like we didn't know? Aaliyah, did you not know?" And Aaliyah was like, "No, I didn't know." And I was like, "Oh, I've known since you were like 12. Oh, I didn't realize you didn't realize."
I love that. So I think I went, oh, that's amazing. But I know. And you're like...
It was such a big thing. And your biggest thing was, what do you mean you knew?
Yeah.
But literally, it wasn't just us.
Obvious.
It was everybody. Everyone that you talked to was like, but Aaliyah, we already knew that.
Everyone I came out to, they were like, yeah, I know one of my closest friends. I think I call her Sherry.
Yeah.
when I came out to her, she was like, "Oh, is this a gay thing?" Because I didn't tell her yet, and I was like, "Okay, guess."
Did you think you were like gays or something?
Yeah, well, no.
No, that's me.
And she's like, "Well, is this like an LGBT thing?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." And she goes, "Are you gonna tell me that you're transitioning?" And I'm like, "No."
She was coming out with like every big thing she could think of, and when you finally told her you were gay,
she was like, "Oh, I just thought of you as gay in the first place." Like,
yeah, like that's the whole thing. Is like she's going so much farther because she's like, well, I already know she's gay, so what else is there that's bigger than that? Like, she didn't realize that you were coming out over a fact that everybody already fucking knew.
Yeah, but that's what happened to me in quarantine. Very happy that happened this year. Anyways, Charlie,
you are so much more positive. Like just quickly before we get into yours, Charlie, you were so positive, and I remember looking at photos of you, and I remember literally telling you, Aaliyah, I have not seen you look this happy in like 5 years. I was like, Aaliyah, this is the
glowing.
I was glowing.
I was like, Aaliyah, this is the Aaliyah I remember from when you were younger. You have not been you for so long.
It was amazing.
Oh, it was awesome. I was glowing.
Because like even when I met you, you were
she
on
was
the verge of
yeah
happy. Like you were happy, but then you got really
it started going downhill.
So that was the first time I ever seen you.
It was just an amazing thing to watch because I was like, that's the Aaliyah that I remember, and it was amazing. Like literally, your photos from 1 week of dating MD. Looking at those photos, you look sad, you look tired, you look depressed, you look stressed. The very next week, you taking photos, you look happy. Your eyes were bright.
Glowing.
You looked.
It was
you
great.
looked like a different person. It was eerie.
I had so much energy.
You were so happy, and I remember you apologized to me because that's when things were starting to go downhill.
You guys were very upset. And I was glowing.
Things were not going well for Charlie and I that week.
You started crying. You're like,
you felt very bad.
Sorry. I'm so happy.
I'm so sorry that you're like I'm happy and you're not. I'm like, it's okay.
And I remember just looking at you and being like, Aaliyah, I would rather see you happy. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm going through right now.
I said, Leah, like, you being happy makes me a little bit more happy.
Yeah.
It was like,
nice.
I think what we both said was, Aaliyah, seeing you happy gives both of us hope that one day we could be as happy as you are.
Yeah.
And that not everybody has to be miserable all the time.
Like, it's the truth.
Well, it was the truth because you were really struggling at that point, and I was going through everything with deadbeat dad at that point.
I don't want to get into that. Anyways.
But you're coming out, Charlie. I remember it was
because of Aaliyah.
It was because of Aaliyah because you saw how happy she was.
I got really close with Aaliyah during like the summer.
Yeah.
Because me and we were always close, but we got more. I don't know how to explain it.
We had.
There was an extra layer of bonding.
Yeah. We had more things in common.
Yeah.
Like even between me and Abby or you and Abby, we have stuff in common now that Abby doesn't relate to.
It's called being asexual, dear.
No, not even that. Like we're both masculine of center.
Oh, very much so. Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sitting here in like a sweater, sweats, and a toque, very feminine in nature.
With
very
your nails and your hair.
With my long red hair and my secretary witch nails.
My hair in a little ponytail where you can't see it. You guys can't see my hair.
Nail ASMR.
Oh my god.
Oh, you should do that one day.
That would be great.
Sound like a spider.
Yes.
But no, for you, Charlie, your realization came right on the tail end of Aaliyah's because I think seeing her made you come to some realizations about yourself in the middle of the night at the cottage.
So it was maybe because I remember Abby had to she sent me to bed because I was like, haha, school in a couple weeks, and you're like, okay.
Well, the thing was, we had already stayed up for more than 24 hours at that point because Aaliyah had fallen asleep on the floor. Took a little power nap on the floor.
I did.
You and I stayed up talking on the couch all night. Yeah. Like, it was literally, I think, like 8:30 in the morning the next morning. And I know for me, I had been up for 36 hours at that point. And I finally looked at you and I was like, Charlie, you have to go back to school. I should really send you to bed and get you back onto, like, a regular schedule because this probably isn't good for you.
Yeah. And, like, the next day, we, like, went to bed. I remember because I fell asleep. I usually listen to music when I go to sleep. Yeah. So I was playing my playlist, and then We Fell in Love in October by Girl in Red started playing.
Of course it did.
Girl in Red.
And I was like,
the queen of girl realizations.
I like get up. I look like a freaking like Dracula. I'm like,
oh my god, I'm gay.
And then I look at my phone. I look at the music the cover of it, like where the girl's like laying there, and I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like laying. I think I stayed up for like 3 hours, and then it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I finally went out on the porch, and I just sat there and just stared outside, and I fell asleep. And then Abby came and found me. She's like, "What are you doing up so early?" And I'm like.
It was like that other day when I scared the crap out of you because I was sitting
that was
in the rocking chair and I just like panned over to look at you and I was like, Good morning, sweetheart.
I
thought you were Aaliyah. What are you doing up so
sound like
early?
Siri, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back to bed.
Well, it's because I was like so lost in thought. And, like I was still halfway thinking, and I think I scared the shit out of you because I saw the look on your face, and you were like, "Oh fuck!
If you guys
what
could
is
see
wrong?"
that, oh my god, it was amazing.
I'm sorry that I have a lot of Dracula like
Yeah,
And
tendencies.
you move
Okay.
so slow
You're
sometimes
just
in the dark. Like if you talk to me, I'm gonna be freaked out.
What do you mean I move slow?
You're like,
You move so quietly. Like I
Yeah.
can't even see you there. Like you know how many times I've been running around the dance room and
I was
you've
scared
been
the piss out of
standing
you.
there.
I've been standing in the room with you, and you
Yeah.
haven't noticed me.
Yeah.
You don't notice me walking,
Yeah.
and you don't notice me standing there, and it's not until like
Yeah.
you finally run around, I'm just
later.
looking at you,
Yeah, you're like,
and you're
oh,
like,
6 feet in the air.
I remember, actually, just as a side note here, there was one day right after quarantine, it was the first day
Yeah.
we got back together
Yeah.
to work after you had been back.
And I didn't know you were.
I had told Aaliyah that we were going to do an online solo lesson.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
And I had decided to surprise her by going in. So I was literally standing in the room. She hadn't noticed me because she was doing something on her phone. And I was just standing there, and she turns around, looks at me, jumps like 6 feet into the air, hits the floor, and immediately bursts into
Yeah.
tears and starts crying. So I had to like run over to her and like hold her on the
Yeah.
floor. And I was like, "It's okay. I'm here. It's fine."
I remember the first time seeing you. That was crazy.
I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like I am loud, but everyone tells me that I'm very quiet. And then I feel like I constantly move very fast. So
you move fast but slow, and you kind of hear
that's
it.
what I
And
don't
you can't
understand.
hear
You're
it.
like, Abby, you move slow. And I'm like, I feel like I rush everywhere.
I feel like I can expect to see you at like a certain time, and then like the one point, like the one moment where I'm not expecting to see you, you're
I'm there.
Yeah.
It's like I move very slowly until all of a sudden I'm like Edward
Yeah.
Cullen, and I'm like
Yes,
right behind you, and I
yes.
just like zoom up, and I'm like,
You look behind you, and you're like there. And you're like, oh.
oh god, that's the ghost. It's returned.
Literally.
Oh fuck, it's Dracula.
I've never heard of something more accurate.
Just me moving very slowly and very carefully, and
Edward
just
Cullen.
all of a sudden, like you look down, you look back up, and I'm like Bloody Mary in the
Hi.
mirror, like standing behind you, like hello.
And you're just like, oh, all right. Got it. What were we talking about?
You were coming
yeah.
out in the middle of the night where you sat up like
Yeah.
Dracula.
And then I played that song on repeat. I had it on like repeat, and then Abby came and found me, and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hi."
You were sitting on the
Yeah.
porch, and I was like, "What are you
And I'm
doing
like-
on the couch, like
Yeah.
on the porch?" I was like, "Dude, it's like 10 degrees out.
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
I had my blanket, but I was like, "Abby, I think I'm gay," and you're like, "Charlie, I already know," and I'm like, "That's not the point."
I think that was my literal reaction too,
Yeah.
because I sat down in the rocking chair across from you because I knew whatever it was. I saw the look on your face, and I was like,
Oh,
"Here
shit.
we go. All
Yeah.
right." So I
And I
sat
was
down,
like-
and I was prepared for her to tell me any number of things from
Yeah.
I want to quit dance to, I don't know, like something big, huge, major. So I sit down. I'm like, "Okay, Charlie, what do you need to tell me?" And she goes, "I think I'm gay."
Oh.
And I just stared at
You're
her,
like, "Bruh."
like holding my coffee
Yeah.
cup in the rocking chair, and
The
I'm just,
relief.
I'm looking at her, and I'm like,
Charlie,
"Charlie, I already knew that.
and I'm like,
Is that what you wanted to tell me?" And you were like, "Abby, that's not the point." And I was like, "Oh, it is what you want. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't need to worry about her getting pregnant anymore. Thank
Yeah.
God."
And I was like, Abby, like I feel bad because Aaliyah just came out. But
You
like,
you did say that
yeah.
because you were like, "Abby, I don't want Aaliyah or anyone to think that I'm copying Aaliyah because Aaliyah's happy, and I don't want it to look like I'm gay just because Aaliyah's gay." And you were like, Abby, well, your biggest thing for you, Charlie, is that you don't like followers.
No.
You don't like people who are just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is on trend right now," and you're like, "Abby, I'm not doing it because it's a trend. I'm not doing it because everyone else is doing
Yeah.
it, and I don't want people to think that way." And I just looked at you and I said, "Charlie, why does it matter what other people think? If you're gay, you're gay.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if everyone's like, "Oh,
yeah.
you're just doing it because it's trendy." If you know you and you know that this is how you feel, that's all that matters. And if
Yeah.
you look at Aaliyah and say, "I'm gay," Aaliyah's not going to be like, "Oh, are you copying
Yeah.
me?"
No.
I was like, she's just going to go, "Oh, bro, me too." Women know, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever come out to me? I don't think you did.
I think you just kind of assumed.
I don't think you.
I don't think I came out to
I
you guys.
don't think you told me.
I mean, your coming out was, "Abby, I think I'm gay," and I went, "Well, duh."
I never
I think
I never actually said I'm lesbian.
Yeah. I think you like came out to Abby and like told her, and then I just like woke up. That's how I feel. I woke
Yeah.
up one day and you were just talking about girls. So I was like, all right,
And I was just gay.
this
yeah.
is how it is.
And
I think what it actually was you two were sitting on the couch, and I
Yeah.
was across from you in the rocking chair on the porch, and you had said, "Oh, girls though," and Charlie was like, "Yeah, they're really pretty," and you just looked at her and nodded so enthusiastically, and that's just where it went.
Yeah.
That was it. Like it was just this. Girls are pretty. Yeah, they're really pretty. And
Yeah.
you were just like,
Yeah.
and it was like, all
Whenever
right,
we-
there we
whenever
go.
me and you like agree on something, we just look at each other and like nod.
Yeah, that's literally all it was.
Just
There
like,
was no sort of big realization or anything
Yeah.
like that. It was just literal acceptance where you're like, I know,
there's
right?
some days where I would walk into like the studio and Leah would be like, "Don't look at me," and I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Cause you look so gay." And
Yeah,
I'm like,
true.
"Great."
But yeah, like your whole thing was just being worried that
Yeah.
people were gonna think that you were doing it because
Yeah.
it was trendy, and
No.
it was just like,
No.
Charlie, if you're gay, you're gay. Like that's
Yeah.
that's it. You're not doing it because it's trendy. If you like titties,
Honestly,
you like titties.
I honestly didn't know how I didn't know I was gay. I went through like a whole muscle shirt phase.
It was Queer-antine.
Weird.
I literally feel like it was.
Yeah.
It was
Can
Queer-antine.
we title the episode that?
Queer-antine.
God.
That's it.
God.
Um,
So Abby,
What about for you?
I wonder what you like.
power.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
that
so
was
we're
the
finally
realization.
we're finally going to explain this, are we? Because we
Yeah.
keep bringing up the fact that power.
I think we've
Power.
mentioned it in passing before.
Just a little bit.
Okay, so what actually happened? Hamilton
We were
happened.
listening to music.
Yeah.
Hamilton happened. And I spent so long trying to figure out what song it was. I'm pretty sure it was Right Hand Man.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on the porch. It's all on the porch, guys, up at the cottage. It's literally where everything happened.
Yep.
It was the room where it happened. We were in the room
where
where
it
it happened.
Where it
Yeah.
happened.
But sitting on the porch listening to it, and I remember it was just kind of playing in the background, and we were talking about something else. And I remember just looking up, because you two were talking and I was on my phone, and I remember just looking up out the window.
Didn't you like literally just say power or
And
something like
I
that?
literally look up and I
Yeah.
go, power. And Charlie and Aaliyah are looking at me and they're like, Abby, are you okay?
What?
And I like stop the music and I'm like, that's what I like. Power.
And we're
Oh
like,
my God.
like a
And-
lamp.
Like a lamp?
Like a lamp. And I was like, no, not that kind of power. What I mean is, how do I even start to explain this?
Like
It's nothing.
CEO type.
CEO
person who's
type.
Powerful.
Yeah, powerful. And I usually say rich, and that makes me sound like a gold digger, but let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not money that I'm actually after. When I am looking for someone who is financially well off, it signifies a lot of different things to me. It signifies a position of security.
Independence.
It's independence, being hardworking, devoted, because you don't just fall into money. I mean, some people do, but a majority, if you fall into money, can't keep it, right? In order to amass large amounts of money, you have to be responsible, you have to be smart, you have to be, in a lot of cases, educated, right? So I think having money to me just says a lot more about some of their personality types, and I think that's what attracts me. But again, it's power to me. I am such a responsible person. The best thing I can say is that a lot of the people who have approached me, who have asked me out and everything else, this is going to sound absolutely awful, but a lot of them, if I said that they have nothing to lose by asking me out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I feel like a lot of people are normally afraid of rejection. These people have been just, they have nothing to lose. Like, they're not even afraid of the rejection at that point. And it's always been, if I were to make a list of pros and cons, it's much more what can I give them and not what can they give me.
Yeah.
And I'm normally a giver in a relationship,
Yeah.
but when you're looking at a relationship that is so unbalanced that way, it's like, no, I want my relationship to be 50-50.
Yeah.
And the problem is that a lot of the people who have asked, I say a lot of, I should say all of the people who have asked me out, it's very much been in that position where I'm the one that's responsible. I'm the one who has money. I'm the one who has a secure job. I'm the one who, you know, if I said that, I would very much be in more of almost like a mother-child relationship where I'm checking up on them. Like, oh, did you check your schedule for work? Have you made sure that your project is done? Like, you know, what have you been doing today? Have you just been gaming all day? What about all the housework? And I don't want that relationship. So when I say that I'm looking for power, I am looking for someone who holds some of the same values as me, someone who is willing to put in hard work, someone who is willing
A leader
to
type.
a leader type, very
Yeah.
much so. And so I do think that I tend to look for CEO types, people who are not going to take advantage of me.
Yeah.
It is one thing if I choose to help somebody, but somebody else relying on me to give them everything, I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
And it's not that I want someone to take care of me. It's because I am also what I would call a power type.
You want someone who
Can equal me.
Yeah.
It's not someone who has something better than me, and it's not about me being better than them. I want 50-50. I want a real partnership. But in order to find that, I need someone who is like me, who is the leader type, who is willing to take responsibility, who wants to work hard, because I work hard at every single thing I do. Laziness is one of the things that I can't stand. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people take the lazy route.
Yeah.
And to me, someone who has money, someone who holds a position of power, they don't tend to take the lazy route. And I'm not saying that that's true for everyone. You look at people like Donald Trump and it's like, you know?
Yeah.
But I very much feel like the type of person who can take things seriously is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And wealth and power tells me a lot about them before I ever even talk to them, right? And this came from the realization of listening to Right Hand Man because, you know, he's like everyone's embellishing his elegance and eloquence, you know, and everything. And just listening to that entire, you know, he's the model of a modern major general. And I'm like, someone who has authority, someone who can say, this is what we're doing, and not just a follower, not just a, oh, will you take care of me? Will you do this for me? Will you do that for me? Not a parasite, not a leech. Someone who
can hold their own.
Someone, if I need a hand up, they can give me a hand up just as much as, you know, I can give them a hand.
Yeah.
50-50. And I feel like that just really doesn't exist for most people now.
I remember looking at you and I was like, I think I don't remember, but I was like, Abby, is Alexander Hamilton your type? And you're like,
you did ask me that.
And you're like, yes.
And I was like, well, I had said, I don't know if Alexander Hamilton's my type. My type is George Washington's type.
Yeah.
I like not the real George Washington, like the George Washington portrayed in the musical Hamilton, please. This whole idea of someone who is very self-assured. You know, Hamilton was always very sort of, oh, but what if they think this about me? And what if they think that about me? You know, he literally starts a duel because somebody drags George Washington's name through the mud. And George Washington just says, we have a war to fight and move along.
Yeah.
I have bigger things to worry about. One of the best phrases I ever heard was, I have been called much worse things by much better people. Why do I care about your insult?
Yeah.
That is one of the best things I've ever heard. And I very much have carried that with me, where it's like, why does a lion care about the opinion of a sheep?
Exactly.
And so I very much look for that same sort of thing in my relationship. And that's why it was so funny, because you would ask me if I liked Alexander Hamilton, and the answer was no. But it was listening to Right Hand Man that made me go,
I think you
no,
were, like,
power.
thinking about it, you're like,
I was really thinking about it.
You're like, well, he's smart and he's... You know, I was just like looking at you. I'm like, okay.
And at the very least, as much as I say that I'm ace, I have a suspicion that I'm demi. So basically, I think I need a strong emotional connection with somebody in order to feel secure enough to feel anything.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's just very difficult. But I know what I look for in a person. And it's just very unfortunate to say that I don't know if my standards are just too high, or if it's maybe the city that I live in, or maybe even just the area that I live in. I don't know, but I have never found anybody. Deadbeat Dad was probably the closest, but he even let me down.
Deadbeat.
When it came down to it, he let me down.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that has very much colored my opinion. And, you know, I talk about men a lot, even though I am attracted to women as well. I think it's just a lot harder to find a woman who is a lot more like me, who is willing to be steadfast, who is in charge of something, who is, you know, that same sort of
I don't mean to sound mean, but I feel like if you were to find someone exactly like you, I feel like you guys would hate each other.
Yeah.
And that's part of the struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I need someone to push me and challenge me, but not so much that we hate each other.
You need someone like you, but not like you.
I am a Libra. I need balance in my life in all aspects.
Yes.
Can't help it.
You're a fucking Libra.
I'm a fucking Libra. Party. But no, so, you know, there is a bit of a running joke now where I'm attracted to power.
Once in a while, I'll look at Abby, like when the lights flicker, I'll be like, Abby,
power. Is that your type?
It's calling out to you.
She looks at a lamp, points at it. Is that your type, Abby? Power.
Abby's
There's
Mothman.
a TikTok.
I am Mothman. I'm just attracted to lamps and lights.
I mean, how many times... Like, none of the dance girls get this. Some of you will now, since you listen.
I'm sorry.
But there'll be times in dance where I'll look at Abby and I'll be like, power. And she'll just look at me with a face
and I'm just like, shut up, Charlie.
And then all girls will be like, power.
And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, the power in the ceiling.
As I said, I think it's just because I am a very specific type of person where hard work is my everything, and I expect that from a partner.
Yeah. Yes.
And I feel like that's why I look towards quote unquote power, because that indicates hard work to me. And I'm not saying that blue collar people don't work hard, even though they don't have a lot of money, but they are much more the work hard, play hard type, and that's not my type. As much as it seems like it should be, my type is very much more, I want to go to galas and I want to go to, you know, all of these other art openings because I'm huge into not just performing arts, but art in general.
Yeah.
I am not the type to go and have a tailgate with a bunch of people. That's just not my thing. So as much as I hate to say it, it is definitely snobbish, but I have to be true to who I am
Yes.
and say that, you know,
power.
it is that very high-end society type thing for me, because that's just where I'm the most comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. Wherever you're comfortable.
Yep, and
never
that's all there
lower
is
your
to it.
standards.
We all like what we like, and this is a no judgment
I
zone.
thought this was supposed to be like a COVID, but I mean, this is COVID, basically.
It's Queer-antine.
It's Queer-antine.
Yeah.
Queer-antine.
And we all had very different realizations
Yes.
about who we are, what we like, what we don't like. And I mean, I am still
And
confused.
we all have songs for it.
Yeah, weirdly enough, music is one of the biggest connectors to the heart.
Yes.
Gazik.
Gazik.
Like Isaac, but Gazik.
So She by Dodie, We Fell in Love in October by Girl in Red, and Right Hand Man. Hamilton.
From Hamilton. Hell yeah. And then just Daveed Diggs.
Oh, God.
I don't need money and I don't need power as long as there's Daveed Diggs on
Loves
my
him.
side.
She
I
loves
do.
him.
He's one of the few. But no, I feel like we all absolutely have our type, and we all know what we want and what we don't want. We all know what we are comfortable with and what we aren't comfortable with. I mean, there's some people, like, for example, my sister can't stand high-end stuff. It makes her feel very uncomfortable. She would rather be in a barn mucking out stalls somewhere. Whereas
Horses.
yeah, she would. And whereas I am very much the person where I would rather be, you know, out in the middle of a field riding the horse. But, you know.
That's such a great representation of you and your sister. She'd rather be picking up the shit from the horse. You'd rather be riding the horse.
Choices.
God.
But, you know, she would be the type that would be fine with, you know, going to, you know, there's some people who want a barnyard wedding, you know, like out of like a fancy barn with twinkle lights and everything, and very nice, very rustic. I am the type where I want it in a grand ballroom, and I want like
it would be a televised event.
no, I want like Masquerade from Phantom of the Opera. That's my wedding, honey.
Yeah, you want like a whole orchestra.
I
for your
want like
music.
cirque performers hanging from
Yeah.
the ceiling, like, and you know,
I could hire my cast.
I think it literally is just because I'm a dance instructor,
Yeah.
because I see all the glitz and glamour, but
Yeah.
I never get a piece of it
Yeah.
myself. I'm always busy doing up other people and making other people look good. That for me, just that whole idea of finally it's my day, like that's just huge for me.
Yeah.
Even though at this point I'm asexual and no one will ask me out except for people who want my money, even though I'm like, I'm a business owner.
I feel like-
You think I have money? You're funny,
I
honey.
feel like at your wedding, if someone else was to wear white, you'd like slap them and kick them out.
No, I would just look at them and be like, can't upstage this bride.
I think a wedding would be hard for you because I think you have a lot of people who want to put like,
You would make
oh,
your...
I want it to be like this, I want it to be like that, and you're
You'd
gonna
be
be
like,
like, no,
I'm planning my own wedding.
this isn't my day.
This is a day for me.
You think I'm Bridezilla?
No, you would fight with your mom. Crazy.
Oh, you have no idea.
You would be like, you are locked out of this until the day of my wedding.
You tell her mom, you've already had your wedding, let me have mine.
Yeah.
Oh, very
I don't
much.
want you to plan it. You don't even get to see the flowers.
You don't get to see anything. You don't get to say in any of
You're
this.
not coming to my wedding dress fitting.
One day we will talk about weddings
Yeah.
on the show
Yeah.
because I think everybody,
Yeah.
as much as we all have a different type, I think we all want a different type of
Yeah.
wedding too. And what is more gay than two women getting married to each other?
A wedding.
A wedding?
A
A
gating.
Guido wedding?
All right, that's
Okay.
it. So that brings us to the end of our Queer-antine episode. It's like double the length that it was supposed to be, but
We love you. We love to
realizations take time.
We love to talk.
Queer-antine is so fun to say.
Oh,
It's
Queer-antine.
so
Queer-antine.
Queer-antine.
All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes, tell us if you came out during your Queer-antine period.
It smells like skunk. Anyways.
Anyways, take it gay by gay, guys.
Bye.
My voice cracks.